Hey everybody, and welcome back to Motorcycle Vision. You know that icon at the bottom of the screen that says subscribe and the other one that says ring the bell? You ever wonder how people do that and how they add that to their own videos? Well, that's what this video is about. Stay tuned. So those icons at the bottom of the screen, how do you do that? Well, for starters, the tools you're going to need are going to be PowerPoint, and you're going to need your favorite movie editor. For me, I'm going to be using Video Studio. You'll need the icons themselves, which you can either draw or download from the internet, and that's all you need. So let's get into it.
Okay, to begin this process, we're going to start with PowerPoint. That's where we're going to do all of our animation. Now, the assumption here is that you do know how to use PowerPoint, at least some basic functions of PowerPoint. If you don't, you still may be able to follow along by paying attention to the steps that I take. Now, I'm going to start with the 4 key icons that we need. I did not draw them. I downloaded them from the internet. So let's start with Insert, Pictures from this device, and I'm going to take the bell. I'm going to take the pointer, the like, and a subscribe, and I'm going to click Insert. And it brings all 4 of them in. Unfortunately, it brings all 4 of them in on top of each other, which is not the greatest thing for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, back up a little bit, because I want to be able to see, if you consider this the stage of our movie, I want to be able to look backstage. So I'm going to say View, Zoom to 50%. And now I can see our stage or our active movie, but I can also see outside, and I have some room to take things and put them out of the way. So I'm going to move the subscribe button here and get it out of the way. Let me get the like out of the way, and also I can resize it. If I grab a corner, I left click, and I shrink it a little bit, I can make it a bit more size appropriate. Let me move the hand over a little bit as well, because I know the little bell is hiding behind there. And make the bell a little bit bigger by left clicking, dragging it a little bit, making it bigger. Now, the reason I wanted the hand up here is because you notice there's all this extra area around it that the others don't have. Well, I've trimmed that area off before we began this video, but I left this one so I could show you how I trim it. So the first thing you do is click on the item itself, and then right-click on it. A little menu comes up, and one of the items here is Crop. So I'm going to click Crop. And I'm going to drag this little box by holding my left mouse down and just sliding it down a little bit. And I'm going to bring it all really close to the hand without touching the hand. And let me get the bottom too. And then I'm just going to click somewhere over here, and you notice all that white space is gone. All that extra fluff is gone. Now, I still have boxes and things around here that I don't want to show. So what I'm going to do is click on my image again, and I'm going to click, and when I do, I'm going to see an icon here that says Remove Background. So let me click that, and the whole thing turns purple. So I'm going to click here and say Mark the areas to keep. And what I do is I left click on anything that I want to keep. For example, you notice the finger outline is like gray, and when I click, it turns darker. So I'm going to try and darken or keep everything in this drawing. Now the last thing is in the inside, I want to keep that because I want it to appear white. If I don't click this, it's going to be transparent. So here it's a little different. I'm going to have to hold down my left mouse button, and I'm just going to drag a green line into it like that. And essentially wherever I put that, PowerPoint knows, oh, okay, he wants me to turn that. He wants to keep that, so I'll turn that white. Almost there. And now we have to tell PowerPoint, keep the changes. So you click on the button, keep the changes. There we are. And now the last thing I want to do is size it, make it a little bit more size appropriate like all of the others. And I'm going to drag it off the stage as well. Okay, before we go any further, in order to put one video on top of another video, think about layers, think about transparencies. In order to do that, you have to be able to tell your video editor to ignore things. That's a process called Chroma Key, where you pick a color and you say, ignore this color, make it transparent if you see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the stage portion of it. I'm going to right click. And the first thing I have here is Format Background. And I'm going to pick Solid Fill. For the color, I'm going to pick green. Everyone seems to take green for Chroma Key, so why should I be different? All right, I'm going to left click here, drag my cursor around these three and select them all at the same time. And then I'm going to drag them onto my stage. This is essentially where the animation is going to begin. Now, in order for this animation to begin, in order to do this properly, you have to understand what you're trying to build. What's your end result going to be before you build it? Just making that a little bigger. Okay, so the way I want this to work is I want these three to appear. I want the hand to come up and click it. Then I want another hand to come up here and click it. Then I want another hand to come up here and click it. Then I want the whole thing to vanish. So that's how I want this to work for me. I'm going to drag my hand right over here because I want it to line up. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. We're going to do two different kinds of animations. So first, I'm going to tell PowerPoint what I want to animate. So I'm going to left click, draw my cursor around these three, pick them. Okay, and I'm going to click from the menu button on Animations. Then I'm going to say Add Animation. Now this is important. Entrance. In other words, this is how I want them to appear. So I want them to fade in. Okay, so you've got a quick preview of how it would work. They're going to fade in. We're going to use this preview button over here quite often to make sure that we're on the right track. So let's click it one more time. Fine, they fade in. Now, the green part's the only part that's going to show in the movie. The hand won't show because it's essentially off the stage. We're going to add another type of animation to it. So I'm going to click on the hand. I'm going to say Add Animation, and I'm going to scroll down, and there's a thing called a motion path. And I'm going to click on that. What a motion path does is it actually moves an item for you. This is kind of strange, but what they're essentially saying is green, see the green dot? Green is where your animation is going to start. Red is where your animation is going to stop. What I want to do is take this red piece and I want to drag it, not the whole thing. What I want to do is drag this red piece over to the subscribe button. In other words, I'm telling it, when we do animation, I want the little finger to go up on top of the subscribe button. That's how I want it to work. Let's preview. Almost there. Did you notice the subscribe button was on top? In other words, the hand went behind the subscribe button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell PowerPoint I'm going to pick the subscribe button, but I'm also going to pick the bell and the hand because they're all going to have this problem. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say send them to the back. Now let's preview again and let's see what we've got. Almost there. Okay, good. So now the only thing that I want to happen now is I want that hand to disappear after it clicks the subscribe button. So I'm going to add animation. This time I'm going to look for exit. And I'm going to say on exit, I want you to fade. And let's preview again. My three items appear. The hand clicks it. The hand fades. Very good. Now I don't want to do this two more times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my little hand. And instead of doing edit copy, I'm just going to do Control C to copy it. And instead of doing edit paste, I'm going to do Control V twice. The reason I'm doing it twice is because I wanted two copies. Control V, by the way, is paste. So I'm going to move that one there, and now I have three of them. So let's preview. One comes up, vanishes. One comes up, vanishes. One comes up, vanishes. Very good. The only thing we have not done is I want the subscribe, the thumbs up, and the bell to vanish themselves. So I'm going to click somewhere on the palette so that way nothing's selected. And again, I'm going to click here. I'm just going to left click, drag it so I can select these three items, add animation, go to my exit piece, and I'm going to fade. Let's preview it one more time. They appear. They get clicked on. And then they vanish. And that's exactly what we were looking for. So now the question becomes, how do we turn this into a movie? So now to save it, I'm going to click on File, Save As, and I'm going to change the type from a PowerPoint video to an MP4 video and hit Save.
Here we are with part 2 of the video. So what we did just now was in PowerPoint we created our animation, and this is what we're going to try to overlay onto our video. So in order to do this part, you need to have a video editor. There are a lot of them out there. My personal preference is Corel Video Studio. I've been with them since version 3. I find it to be very powerful. I find it to be easy to use. I'm very comfortable using it, so that's what I'm going to use. But you can use your own editor. The steps that I'm going to show you are going to be similar in your editor, but the commands may be different. I'm not going to turn this into a tutorial on how Video Studio works. I'm just going to go over some of the basics here so that you can understand and you can replicate it when you try to do it. Now right here I have my video, the one that you'll be seeing on YouTube. And I have a toggle, so you can see I can forward, I can go back, things like that. So what I want to do is I want to add another layer. Now think transparencies where you put one layer down and another layer on top of it. I want to take the animation that I created in PowerPoint and I want to put it on top of this. So I'm going to do File, Insert Media into the Timeline, Insert a Video, and I'm going to pick the overlay video that I created, and it sticks it on the end. I'm going to drag it all the way back to the beginning, and I'm going to indent it a little bit. So let the video play a couple of seconds before it pops up. Now you notice it draws that green box. Remember back in PowerPoint when we spoke about Chroma Key and how Chroma Key is a color and you pick that background, and I picked green, and then later on you're going to tell your video editor to ignore that color? That's here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this layer so that it covers the other layer. In other words, I'm going to take the animation and I'm going to stretch it so it's completely covering the motorcycle video. Once I do that, I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to tell Video Studio I'm using Chroma Key, and I'm going to tell to apply it. Now suddenly the green is gone. Remember, Chroma Key, ignore this color. But let me rewind my video a little bit and let me hit play. And now you'll see the two layers together. There's the buttons. There's the finger animation that we selected. And then the whole thing vanishes. And that's the way you do it.
Well, I hope you found that helpful. If you did, hope you'll subscribe and give me a like and send me a note. Tell me if it helped you. Bye-bye.